Good evening, Belize, and welcome to XTV's news broadcast for Friday, April 10, 2026. Making the headlines tonight, prescription requirement for some contraceptives met with backlash. GOB rejects bus fare increase and asks BBA for patience on fuel costs. PM addresses concerns of NGOs regarding PBL's cruise port proposal. And Keycocker Village Council objects to proposed sale of police station property. We take a first break and return with the news in detail.
When the job calls, you need a truck that works as hard as you do. Strong, reliable, and built for the load. The Jack Freight Truck gets the job done. From the lumberyard to the work site, power your business with confidence. I can count on Jack to get the job done right.
En Atlantic Bank, tu comodidad es nuestra prioridad. Nuestro centro de contacto está diseñado para mejorar tu experiencia bancaria. Con una amplia gama de opciones de servicio al cliente, ahorras tiempo y esfuerzo. Puedes llamar fácilmente para bloquear o desbloquear tus tarjetas de débito y crédito, realizar consultas de cuentas y acceder a información detallada de tus tarjetas. Ya sea que necesites asistencia con la banca en línea, apoyo para comercios o consultas generales, nuestro equipo está listo para ayudarte. Para mayor comodidad, si todos los operadores están ocupados, puedes dejar tu número y un operador te devolverá la llamada lo antes posible para asegurarse de que recibas el apoyo que necesitas. Para mayor seguridad, es posible que necesitemos verificar tu identidad con un conjunto de preguntas sencillas. Recuerda, Atlantic Bank nunca solicitará tu nombre de tu usuario ni contraseña de Atlantic Online por llamada telefónica, mensaje de texto o correo electrónico, asegurando que tu información personal permanezca segura y protegida. Nuestro equipo de apoyo está disponible de lunes a viernes, de 8 a.m. a 6 p.m. en inglés y en español. Simplemente marca al 223-1212. Esta es la línea dedicada para nuestro centro de contacto. Atlantic Bank se compromete a brindarte un servicio excepcional y las herramientas que necesitas para administrar tus finanzas de manera conveniente y segura. Aprovecha al máximo nuestro servicio del centro de contacto.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
Every great job starts at Brothers Habet, with the best supplies and the right support, including free delivery on site, so you can focus on the job. Brothers Habet, working with contractors since 1983.
In a democracy, what is good for the government cannot be bad for the people. And what is good for the people cannot be bad for the government.
We came a long way. It's like over 16 years that it was basically like 2-3 houses in that area.
It was wild. One high bush like jungle. I want to take my lick. Say no water, no light. I tell her no about that. We have figured it out.
You know, you wonder how long it will take for this to happen.
A year ago, you were considered squatters.
We made a picado and we came in. I made a teenager. Everybody said it was swamp, it was swamp. When we get in here, it was like gold.
Today, You're landowners.
Very this that for we, and we proud of this.
Now we are claiming our house on the land.
We have worked so hard to make this happen for us.
This is a beautiful day, folks, because we are taking care of people who have taken care of us. Because we wouldn't be here today without you.
Belize, your voice is shaping our future. The Ministry of E-Governance is hosting National ID Project public consultations, and we're coming to you. Orange Walk, you're up first. Thursday, April 23rd at Central Park, 6 p.m. Come, learn, share, and help build a better ID system for all Belizeans. Then Belize City, it's your turn. Join us Friday, April 24th at the Biltmore Plaza at 2 p.m. Show up, speak up, because your voice matters in creating a smarter, more connected Belize.
Welcome back with your news. I am Drea Espinosa. Belizean social media is in an uproar over the Ministry of Health and Wellness's Evening Time release Thursday, informing that as part of its enforcement of prescription regulations, some contraceptives require a doctor's prescription. The ministry notes that hormonal options, in particular like the pill, patches and injections, can have significant effects on the body and that they are not one size fits all. The ministry says doctors would assess risk factors including history of blood clots or stroke, high blood pressure, smoking habits, and migraines or other underlying conditions. Additionally, the ministry says healthcare providers can screen for sexually transmitted infections, provide reproductive health counseling, and offer preventative services such as pap smears and general health checkups. Importantly, it advises that doctors can provide contraceptives for up to 12 months in many cases. It writes, quote, prescriptions serve not only as a safeguard for medication use, but also as a gateway to comprehensive healthcare services, end quote. Comments on the press release published only on Facebook just before 9 p.m. were swift. Some heavily criticized the requirement, citing the added time, travel, and cost of consultations, with some calling it retrograde and inconsiderate of low-income citizens. One doctor also weighed in, describing the move as ridiculous, while noting the additional workload it will entail for healthcare providers. The Director of Health and Wellness, Dr. Melissa Diaz-Musa, has agreed to do an interview until Monday. Weighing in on the controversy, PM John Brasenio says the matter will be discussed with the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and noted that his wife, the Special Envoy for Women and Children, excoriated him after the announcement.
I'm not sure if this EU is here. I know the Minister of Health is out of the country, so probably that's why they're telling you maybe that you'll be able to address it next week. I don't think they're trying to run away from you. From what we have been told in Cabinet, well, before this thing happened, that these things are already the law, but it was not being implemented. And so they believe that it is time to be able to implement some of these laws that have been in place. It's not a law that we're changing. It's been there. It's been in the books. There have been a lot of abuse when it comes to some of these medicines that should be given by prescription. For instance, in the United States, you can't buy antibiotics. Sorry, yeah, that's the right word. The title, antibiotics of 800, or prescription of 800 milligrams or above. You have to get a prescription because there's a lot of abuse. Also, doctors will tell you if you take a lot of antibiotics, eventually your body starts to reject it. So when you're really sick, you might not be able to be able to. If you want to get, and I know this, like in the United States, if you try to buy allergy pills with the decongestion, with what they call Allegra D, for instance, you only could buy like one pack for the month, and you have to give your ID to show that you're older than 21 years old and everything because of the potential abuse. No, Belize, no. Coming to Belize, no, I do agree that we just can't follow everything that a developed country does. So we need to be able to make adjustments to our needs. On the issue of birth control, of course, I get it last night when Rosanna saw it, and she was like, what's wrong with you when it comes to contraceptives, because it's important to make this easy for women to avoid unwanted pregnancies. And I agree with her. And then I know that the technicians at the Ministry of Health will say, well, it is known that some of these birth control pills can cause what? I know they said cancer or blood clots or whatever he said. And she will say, okay, what data do you have to support that in belief? So I agree with her. And sometimes, for want of the perfect, we mess up with the greater good for people, and this is just such a case. So we need to sit down with the Ministry of Health to talk about it and see how best we could navigate around.
Why is the office?
At 4 this afternoon, the ministry issued a statement saying it has not implemented abrupt enforcement and that the regulations have always existed, plus that there has been consultation with the public and the Pharmacy Association in the past year. However, we do not know of any public consultation on the matter, though we saw flyers for meetings with pharmaceutical importers since the end of last year. It clarifies that over-the-counter medicines can be purchased for common health issues like headaches, colds, coughs, allergies, digestive discomfort, muscle pain, and minor injuries. Examples of these are Tylenol, ibuprofen, Alka-Seltzer, and Pepto-Bismol. It then adds that it is conducting an education campaign to help the public better understand the difference between prescription medication and OTC medicines. It advises patients with chronic illnesses like diabetes and hypertension, high cholesterol, or asthma to do follow-ups with healthcare providers to prevent complications. It doubles down on some contraceptives requiring prescriptions. It does state, quote, "Where appropriate in chronic disease management, dispense the current supply while advising patients to schedule a consultation with their physician and obtain a prescription for future refills," end quote. The government has formally turned down the Belize Bus Association's request for an immediate increase in bus fares. This is in response to their March 30 letter in which the association requested concessions or an increase in bus fares to help alleviate the effects of the increasing cost of diesel. Today, CEO in the Ministry of Transport Chester Williams informed BBA President Philip Jones that while Cabinet considered the association's proposal, it could not support a fare hike at this time because of the, quote, "the additional financial burden it would place on commuters." As to the request for possible GST exemptions on fuel, tires, and parts of a fuel subsidy, the ministry asked the BBA operators to be patient and wait to see whether global fuel prices ease in the coming weeks. Williams said the other two requests would be revisited only if fuel prices remain high for an extended period. Williams said the government anticipates that the trend may not continue much longer and fuel prices could stabilize. The BBA will hold an emergency meeting to chart the way forward. Today we saw the position of the Prime Minister regarding the concerns raised by the environmental NGOs on the cruise terminal aspect of the Port of Belize expansion project, which was green-lighted on April 2nd. As we reported, the main concern for the NGOs is that the mangrove island plan lacks science and there are pollution risks from dredge spoils and the BWS pond discharge, which would lead to chronic environmental pressure. Additionally, the coalition of NGOs says cruise ship emissions are ignored and there is no national cruise port strategy. The coalition recommended that the cruise port aspect be denied a third time so that the developer could submit an update proposal addressing all concerns.
With the NGO community, you could never get their full support, and that's their right. We are going to address it, whatever it is that they believe that is being based, but we're going to do the right thing. It is time for us to build a cruise port for Belize and a new container port, and we have to do it, but we have to do it right, protecting the environment as best as we can. If you build a house, you change your environment. So obviously there's going to be some effects, but what we need to do is to mitigate them, and to try to minimize them as best as we possibly can. And that is my commitment, and that's the commitment of our government, that we're going to do the best to mitigate the environmental issues, but to ensure that we can build a world-class port for the people of this country. Thank you.
The Prime Minister also clarified that he stated before about a hedge fund interested in investing in the project given that the government cannot finance it.
there are several groups that are interested in making this investment in Belize. SSA Marine is one of them. They are one of the largest port developers in the world. And what I said, that their parent company is BlackRock. That's all I said. But there are other groups like Global Port Holdings. I think they're out of Turkey. There's a group out of Mexico. There are different groups that want to come. But we could not and would not negotiate with anybody until we get the environmental clearance. Now that we get the environmental clearance, we have Nichols and Moffat, the same group that came up with the master plan. Now we're going to hire them to help us in setting up the terms of reference, so then to be able to negotiate with these different groups and to see who is going to give the best deal for Belize.
In related news, the Prime Minister has rejected the insinuation that the National Environmental Appraisal Committee, NEAC, was directed to approve the Port of Belize expansion project, whose cruise terminal aspect remains of concern to the environmentalist. First, he called it fantastic news that the project has received the green light to proceed.
I think it's a fantastic news. I think it's a game changer. That, as we all know, that the port has had a certain history from way back in the early 2000s when they were attempting to be able to build a cruise port. And several groups have tried, and for different reasons they have not succeeded. I want to commend our government, our cabinet colleagues, because when I brought to them the idea of us buying over the port and for us to follow the process properly to ensure that we can get all the approvals and attract the right investors to build a cruise port and container port for Belize, that they had the courage to be able to give me the support for us to be able to do that. So it's a major undertaking. We took our time. We made sure that we have a good board of directors. We put up a public execution unit headed by Dr. Aguile Canton, people that know what they're doing. Made sure that we prepare a proper environmental plan. We had the advantage of seeing what went wrong in the previous one, and to ensure that we could take those corrective measures to ensure that we can get the support. So we're very pleased, we're excited now about now moving forward and actually looking at signing up with partners to for the actual construction, the dredging and construction of the port.
What's your thoughts on suggestions that the government of Belize directed NEAC to vote in this direction?
You really want me to comment on something like that? It's obviously, it's nonsense. These people are highly qualified professionals, and I think that they did what they believe is right. And we've addressed most of the issues, and that is why when they gave the approval, they gave the approval, but with certain conditions that they want to add to the plan that was presented.
What would you say to any legal action brought by the Ashcroft or Waterloo Group or any port developer over this conditional approval?
Well, it's not a conditional approval. We got an approval, but there are certain conditions that they're going to add to it. Right? So we got an approval, but I don't see no reason why any company would want to take any sort of legal action. We follow the process.
They would rationalize for Waterloo, for example, that their project was denied some years back.
Well, we bought the company from Waterloo.
After the break, will Amalia Mai demit office? And the Prime Minister says the government is absorbing another fuel increase. Stay with us.
Nando's Wholesale is your market leader in Belize's wholesale industry when it comes to high-quality products at the most reasonable and competitive prices. With over 40 years in the wholesale business, Nando's Wholesale embraces the partnership of the hotel industry in Belize by providing world-renowned brands in wines, seasonings, condiments, and cleaners in industrial sizes, as well as small and large kitchen appliances and equipment. Nando's also takes pride in providing one of the quietest and most durable air conditioning systems in Belize with technical support and spare parts. Nando's Wholesale. Professional, reliable, effective, and prompt. Nando's Wholesale always delivers. Visit us at www.nandos.bz or send an email to nandos@nandos.bz. Or, even better yet, give us a call today at 222-500 or 280-8080 to speak to one of our sales representatives today.
Bari here now, love pura y siete. Aro futugu pumutino, sunga teleri chabe, sunga teleri babe. Yei hey bandi puti danandige, lo son de bagare.
Is that all? This is everything.
There are reports that CEO Amalia Mai will demit office from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Today, the Prime Minister explained that she will be reassigned after her one-year contract ends.
The office of the Prime Minister is not moving Amalia Mai from as CEO. Amalia Mai asked for a one-year contract. She had a one-year contract. In February, she gave me a letter saying that she would not renew her contract. The Prime Minister, CEOs are named by the Prime Minister, but obviously has to be in consultations with their respective ministers. And in this instance, I think there's a mutual understanding between the CEO and the minister that probably CEO Mai wanting another challenge, something else different. She's been doing this for the past 5 years. And the minister's feeling that, okay, this is an ample opportunity to be able to bring in a new CEO and to either continue with what's going well, because there's a lot of good work we've been doing in the ministry. And if there's any adjustments that we can do, this is a perfect opportunity to do so.
Have you identified an ambassadorial post for Amalia?
It's not about identifying. Amalia is, I think, one of among our best diplomats that we have in Belize. And we're working on how we're going to use her. We want to use Amalia, but also I'm also waiting. I'm talking with Minister Fonseca for him to be able for us to be able to sit down to decide on who he believes to be the best person to take over from Amalia. And then once that is done, then we could decide where we're going to put Amalia Mai, but we will use Amalia's work.
The Prime Minister today also said that the government has absorbed another increase in fuel, though we note that the figure he quoted remains the same as what was shared at the end of March for the budget debate.
Fuel, we have been cutting the taxes already. We are giving up about $60 million already. 60, that's what I said, 60 million in the house. I think now what happened, because now we just gave up now on gasoline, on premium. we just give up some taxes on the premium. We're not giving the entire increases to the public. We're being cut inside. I believe that now that just happened, was it this week? Sunday. So I think that when you include that, probably it'll be close to $80 million. Remember, $200 million, we are getting $200 million of excise taxes on fuel. And so it is a big lick. It's hurting us. I had a Ministry of Finance prepare a cabinet paper to our colleagues, so our colleagues could also, they know, but I want to make sure that they understand, guys, we will need to look how we're going to spend. We need to see where we can curtail spending. We need to be able to, especially do the carpooling with government employees, whereby, instead of then they're up and down, if they could carpool to be able to reduce the fuel. We already have a system in place whereby we chuck your vehicle and after hours we shut it down if possible. That already is saving us a few $1 million. So we need to look in every which way where we can curtail. If there are certain areas in Capital 2 spending that we can hold back, at least until we know what's going to happen, then we will do so.
The Keycaulker Village Council today published a formal rejection of the proposed sale, lease, or transfer of the island's police property located on parcel 815. In a press release, the council characterized the land as a critical communal asset essential for public safety and security. It expressed strong opposition to the lack of transparency surrounding the proposal, noting that there was no engagement with local governance or residents. Officials argued that divesting the land disregards community needs and threatens one of the island's few remaining shared gathering spaces, which sits adjacent to a community basketball court. The council in its release calls for an immediate halt to all processes related to the property transfer, full disclosure of all intentions, and agreement regarding the land and urgent engagement with the relevant ministry before any further action is taken. Labeling the protection of parcel 815 as non-negotiable, the council stated it is prepared to pursue legal and administrative action to ensure the property remains a permanent public safety facility. Sources say the Ministry of Home Affairs does not consider that a beachfront property is required for the police station, and they are set to construct a CABE-funded facility. Reports are that the sale is being considered for under $2 million, with the funds set to go toward the construction of another police station elsewhere. In police news, the body of a man who was later identified as 18-year-old fisherman Jail Westby was discovered around 8 this morning in a bushy area behind the Port of Belize Limited in Port Loyola, Belize City. Westby was observed with apparent gunshot injuries to the body. According to police, Westby's mother had visited the Central American Boulevard police booth around 6:45 this morning to report him missing. He was last seen at 3 p.m. on Thursday when he left home with a 16-year-old male friend to go fishing. Police investigation continues. There are reports that a man was shot earlier today in Hatteville, Belize District. The incident is reported to have occurred near Bruce Avenue in the village. The man was rushed to the Carl Huschner Memorial Hospital for treatment. The extent of his injuries is currently unknown. Police are investigating. In other news, during a presentation on Thursday, it was revealed that over 29,000 Belizean students received some form of financial assistance from the Ministry of Education. Over 1,350 students in pre- and primary schools receive assistance, while over 19,000 high school students receive some form of assistance. Ricardo Gideon of the Planning, Research and Evaluation Unit shared additional figures.
In simple numbers, 2025-2026, the ministry supported over 1,350 scholarships or financial assistance to students attending primary education. Beyond the 14,000 students at the secondary level who are part of the Education Upliftment Project, an additional 5,000 students receive either full or partial financial assistance to attend secondary schools outside of the 27 schools under the Education Upliftment Project. And this basically represents that over 19,000 students at the secondary level school are receiving some form of financial assistance, either full or partial, representing approximately 83% of all students attending secondary school. At the tertiary level, so I go with the total investment. Traditionally, up to 2024, 2025, the ministry was investing approximately $13 million across these levels of education to provide financial assistance to students, including tertiary. Last year, and because they know that for some reason the ministry has been providing more and more and more assistance, the demand has been increasing. Hence the reason financial assistance escalated all the way to over $16 million. And that is why enrollment across levels has been increasing because of the financial support being offered through the Ministry of Education.
Gideon also revealed that over 4,000 students at the University of Belize, over 4,000 students enrolled in junior colleges, and over 1,000 students enrolled in tertiary institutions abroad are also receiving financial support.
Currently have an enrollment of over 5,000 students at the University of Belize, when the data is showing that 4 out of 5 students attending the University of Belize are receiving some form of financial assistance from the government of Belize. Out of all the other junior colleges within this country, local junior colleges, 3 in every 5 are also receiving some form of financial assistance. This is 3 in every 5, basically represents an additional 4,000 students. So university would represent 4,000 and another 4,000 at other or across other junior colleges, which represents 8,000 additional students from the previous one presented here. At tertiary foreign institutions, those studying abroad, then the ministry, through the government of Belize, is providing an additional level of financial assistance to over 1,000 students specializing in areas that possibly we cannot train in this country.
After the break, over 2,000 teachers have been trained in special education. Stay tuned.
En Atlantic Bank, tu comodidad es nuestra prioridad. Nuestro centro de contacto está diseñado para mejorar tu experiencia bancaria. Con una amplia gama de opciones de servicio al cliente, ahorras tiempo y esfuerzo. Puedes llamar fácilmente para bloquear o desbloquear tus tarjetas de débito y crédito, realizar consultas de cuentas y acceder a información detallada de tus tarjetas. Ya sea que necesites asistencia con la banca en línea, apoyo para comercios o consultas generales, nuestro equipo está listo para ayudarte. Para mayor comodidad, si todos los operadores están ocupados, puedes dejar tu número y un operador te devolverá la llamada lo antes posible para asegurarse de que recibas el apoyo que necesitas. Para mayor seguridad, es posible que necesitemos verificar tu identidad con un conjunto de preguntas sencillas. Recuerda, Atlantic Bank nunca solicitará tu nombre de tu usuario ni contraseña de Atlantic Online por llamada telefónica, mensaje de texto o correo electrónico, asegurando que tu información personal permanezca segura y protegida. Nuestro equipo de apoyo está disponible de lunes a viernes, de 8 a.m. a 6 p.m., en inglés y en español. Simplemente marca al 223-1212. Esta es la línea dedicada para nuestro centro de contacto. Atlantic Bank se compromete a brindarte un servicio excepcional y las herramientas que necesitas para administrar tus finanzas de manera conveniente y segura. Aprovecha al máximo nuestro servicio del centro de contacto.
Atlantic Bank, building the future together.
This is a Jack X200. This is a very recommendable vehicle. Storage capacity to the max, right? Fuel efficient, easy rider, AC not a play, the pump, comfortable, and it carry me to all my destination. I can count on Jack to take me and my packages where I need to go. I recommend it anytime. We're the best from the West.
But here now, love pura y siete. Aro puto como no, sun cateleri chabe, sun cateleri babe. Yay hey padre puti danandige, lo son de bagare.
With the launch of the Belize Education Sector Plan 2.0 on Thursday, Ministry of Education personnel shared that a major focus will be students' access to education and resources to help them succeed. However, a major focus will also be assisting teachers. Ricardo Gideon explained that over 6,300 teachers oversee more than 98,000 students. He said that teachers will also have access to scholarships, paid study leave, and other opportunities.
In our country, we have a little over 6,361 teachers, proud teachers, I am sure, across all levels. We have a total enrollment, local enrollment, of over 98,000 students, almost 1/4 of this country's population, categorized as students. The ministry pays or invests over $217 million in salaries and service benefits for teachers, representing a total investment of 91.8% of the ministry's operational budget. This is very significant. Just as an example, with the salary adjustments that the ministry approved under Proposal 22, the BNTU would be well aware of, this increase added an additional $14 million to the wage bill of the government of Belize.
During Thursday's Belize Education Sector Plan launch, Ricardo Gideon, the director of the Planning, Research and Evaluation Unit, revealed that over 2,000 teachers have been trained to better teach students who are differently abled. He also informed that over 20,000 students have been screened to ensure they receive specialized care in the classroom.
Every child deserves to belong and be supported. True educational progress means ensuring no child is left behind. The ministry's commitment is not only to students who learn easily within traditional systems, it is also for students who require additional support, either through diagnostic or instructional support, or even beyond that. In 2021, the ministry introduced several initiatives to support schools and the ministry's human resource to cater for students with special education needs. Significant partnerships have been established in areas of therapeutic support, particularly for students who attend Stella Maris and in the Cayo district. Over 2,000 teachers have been trained in areas to support students with special education needs, and over 20,000 students have been screened to identify areas of need so that the ministry is better able to support them. This has never been done before. Up until 2025, we were reporting 256 students attending schools with special education needs, and the figures are now in excess of 1,500 because additional screening and support is being offered. something that has never been done before.
In more police news, a 19-year-old man from rural Kurzal district has been arrested and charged after he was accused of unlawful sexual intercourse with a 14-year-old female minor. The two were reportedly dating. The minor reported to police on January 29, 2026, that they were intimate on 4 separate occasions between July and December 2025. The minor was examined by a doctor who certified that she had been carnally known. And police in Dangriga are investigating an aggravated burglary that occurred Wednesday night on Havana Street in that municipality. The victim, 48-year-old Ermita Verula, reported that an armed male intruder entered her home around 8:15 p.m. while she was with her daughter. The suspect demanded money before ransacking a bedroom. According to police, the culprit fled the scene with several personal items, including a purse containing personal documents and a $30 in cash, a Brazilian gold chain valued at $125, and a red 24-inch female beach cruiser bicycle valued at $350. No injuries were reported during the encounter. And with that, we've come to the end of our newscast. The repeat can be viewed on the station later tonight at 9 and again Monday at midday. Join us again Monday for another edition of the news. And remember, you can always catch up with the day's top stories on our YouTube channel and Facebook page under XTV Belize. And you can watch the evening news live on our XTV BHNI app. I am Drea Espinosa. Have a safe and enjoyable weekend.